Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we're back in another episode of Hobbyside. And on today's episode, we're taking a look at the brand new project that we're working on in the studio for our studio's Necromunda collection, and this, of course, being a corpse grinder cult. It could also be a corpse guild outcast gang as well. What we're going to do today is talk about this project, exactly what it consists of, what our plans are for this project, and also what our overall design concepts are going to be. So with that being said, let's get this video on a roll. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about exactly what we have in our studio's collection at this point. As you can see, we have a corpse harvesting delegation from the Corpse Guild. These are actually from the old Forge World miniatures. That's right, yours truly actually bit the bullet and actually bought some corpse grinder guild members from Forge World, no less. I actually came into some money pretty recently. I was actually doing pretty good some gambling that I do. I like to gamble in my free time, and I actually came up with some quite a bit of profit, so I decided why not treat myself with my winnings and go ahead and get some Forge World miniatures. So the first thing I decided to do, of course, was to get the Corpse Guild miniatures. These are absolutely fantastic looking. They look absolutely amazing and beautiful. I've always had my eyes on these guys. The other delegation that I really thought was really cool too was the Water Guild. However, though, in my opinion, these guys kind of justify the cost because you get 4 fighters plus 2 servo skulls, which are pretty cool looking as well. The way I figured I could use these guys for either one of two things. I could either use them as members of a Corpse Guild delegation, I could use them as Corpse Guild outcast gang members, and I could also use them as proxies for a Corpse Grinder cult gang. And the reason why that is the case is because people tend to forget that the Corpse Grinder cults, which are these guys you see here in the wings, they're actually former Corpse Guild employees that went kind of crazy from the work that they were doing processing corpse starch. So you could easily use these same miniatures as Corpse Guild fighters if you wanted to as well, which I think would look really cool. So as you can see there, these guys are all ready to go. These look really awesome as well. At the same time, I also have a large number of initiates on this one. I actually have 7 initiate miniatures. Now, originally there's only 4 initiates in the box set when you buy the Corpse Grinder Cult box set, but I did have some spare pieces lying around, primarily Chaos Marauders. I actually had 2 Chaos Marauders bodies, some legs and some torsos, as well as 1 Chaos Marauder torso. And with those, I just added the arms and extra heads from the initiates from that box set to make those 3 other additional fighters. Now, this guy here, actually, you'll notice he's got a serpentine torso. That's actually from a snake miniature from Reaper Miniatures. I just cut the head off the snake real quick, just glued a Marauder body on, and then attached the guy's arms to it as well. Now, I know that these guys are not supposed to have mutants, but, you know, it's Necromunda, and Commander Cheapskate gotta save that money. If you notice as well, the arms look a little bit different. That's because I did buy the Corpse Grinder weapons set that's available from Forge World. Actually, here's like the little sheet there as well. So I decided to buy that too, just because I wanted to get some really cool things like the harpoon launcher, as well as the flamer and heavy flamer for these guys. As you can see, we have those because initiates can use those. Also, they have some auto pistols and some interesting melee and hand flamers too. So it'll be kind of cool to actually fit those guys on that. And of course, we have our Corpse Grinder cult characters over here. There are 6 of them that came in the box so that you can get. Excuse me. I decided to turn a couple of them into some champions, into some cutters. So you can see I got a cut over here with a radial flinching saw. Same thing with this guy, used a rock cutter, but we could also easily say that it's a radial flinching saw as well. Got one guy here with a double-headed axe. We could also say that it's also a chain glaive. I also got 2 fighters with paired chain cleavers or heavy chain cleavers, depending on what we want to do. If you'll notice, these guys' heads are actually quite smooth. If you look close at this guy, for example, I trimmed off all of the horns and insectoid-looking things on the armor, and it made these guys look a little more streamlined. And the reason why that is the case is because, like I said, for a lot of these guys' heads, I actually replaced them with just the initiate heads from the box set, just because I want to make these guys look like they could potentially be just Corpse Guild workers that are a part of a Corpse Guild outcast gang, or I could use them as what they were intended for Corpse Grinder cults as well. Just allows a lot of flexibility for this gang to be used in either one of those, just to create some diversity in these builds as well. Plus, on a personal note, I'm not a big fan of those little horns and skulls and spiky things off the armor, stuff like that. I just imagine like you're trying to run on the underhive trying to fight somebody in the cramped conditions, you're on your antlers ladders gets attached to like a piece of masonry or something, and then because he gets stuck, he gets shot at. So that's an example of the reason why I don't like that look. Plus, it just looks kind of a little over ridiculous sometimes. Sometimes you can make things a little too spiky, and that's something I didn't really care about too much. And of course, I use some of the Forge World arms that we use for some of the weapons for these guys as well. And then I also have an 8-fold Harvest Lord that I made out of my 6th guy over here. Now this guy, of course, is a normal corpse grinder cult fighter with 2 heavy chain cleavers. And I took the cult icon from the back panel that came from the corpse grinder weapon set to put on the back to represent the 8-fold Harvest Lord. And the reason why is because even though the 8-fold Harvest Lord has wonderful stats, but I just don't feel like buying that miniature. It's extremely expensive for just one miniature, but I could just take one of these guys instead and just convert my own, and that's exactly what I did. What makes him the 8-fold Harvest Lord is a little back banner on his back, and that's really about it. Plus that little cage-looking thing that he has on his face, I decided to use that to mark him out as different from the rest of the gang. Just so that way, if I want to play this gang, or if my friends want to play this gang, we'd have the option to bring in a 8-fold Harvest Lord and make it look absolutely fantastic as well. So yeah, these are the miniatures that make up the studio's collection so far, and then we'll talk about exactly what we're going to plan on doing with them. So let's go ahead and talk about exactly what these guys will be equipped with for the most part. So this is a Corpse Guild Delegation. They're going to be equipped with their chain glaives and everything else that they already come with automatically as a Corpse Guild. Of course, we have the 8-fold Harvest Lord proxy that's in the background, who's going to be equipped with the things that he's usually equipped with as well. For my initiates, I actually have a good mixed bag of initiates. I have a guy with a flame in the back, I got a guy with a hand flamer, as well as a butcher cleaver. I got a guy with a auto pistol, a boning sword, auto pistol, boning sword up here. I got another guy with a harpoon, as well as another guy with a heavy flame right here. The guy's got the snake body, he's got a boning sword, as well as a hand flamer. So those will make up the equipment for these guys as well. You can also give them additional pistols and grenades and other cool things like that as the campaign develops, because those things can be easily hidden on their person. Over here for my 5 main fighters over here, I have 2 guys. One guy's armed with a radial flinching saw. This guy's armed with a heavy rock cutter, but the way that it's laid out, it could be used as a radial flinching saw as well, which is also kind of nice. I also got 2 guys back here with paired chain cleavers. They could also be considered heavy paired chain cleavers if I wanted to as well. So that way I could use maximum close combat. Same with this guy back here. This guy's got a huge double-handed axe. It could also be used as a chain glaive as well, or whatever the case I want to use. This axe is ridiculously big, so it's kind of interesting the way it looks like. But, that's the way it looks, and it looks amazing at the same time. If I decide to use these guys as a Corpse Outcast gang, what I'll do is I'll just primarily just equip them the same way. I feel that if you make a Corpse Guild Outcast gang, you should be able to get access to the Corpse Guild weaponry. May not necessarily their masks or anything like that, or anything else that's specific to Corpse Grinder cults. But you should be able to get access to their chain glaives, their chain cleavers, their boning swords, that kind of thing. And the reason why I feel that is because that's what Corpse Grinder cults are. They're just Corpse Guild employees who went insane and decided to form their own cult, and they're using a lot of the weapons that they use and equipment from their jobs. So because of that, I feel like you should be able to continue using those in the gang as well. And that's pretty much what I'm going to use for the weapons and equipment for these guys, if I decide to use them as either one for the gangs. So the last thing we're going to talk about real quick is the design concept. I'm going to go with the paint scheme for these guys. So for the Corpse Guild, these guys actually have a really interesting paint scheme. They look like they're wearing surgical scrubs for the most part. The Kel consorts primarily in pale cream colors, while the Bone Scrivener is kind of like this Baroque kind of maroon looking color for his scheme, and the Corpse Grinders themselves actually look like they're wearing surgical scrubs. They wear a lot of turquoise, a lot of teal, a lot of green and blue, make it look like they're just wearing surgical gowns and outfits, while they're working on their job. And as weird as it may sound, I'm going to use that color concept for the 2 Corpse Grinders from this group to actually paint up the rest of the gang as well. I plan on using a lot of teals, blues, and turquoises for the initiates, and same thing with the cutters, butchers, as well as skinners as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is for 2 reasons. One is because, one, you never see that look very often in Corpse Grinder cults. You just don't see that kind of color scheme. It mainly sticks to the reds, oranges, bronzes, browns, a little bit more of an earth tone, darker color tone. So having that contrast in color will be quite unique and makes this game look really interesting. Visual gives it a lot of visual appeal. And that's the reason why I want to do that. And the second reason why I want to do so that way if I decide to use these guys as Corpse Guild Outcast gang fighters, they'll fit in right with the Delegation in terms of color scheme. So that way they look like they're ex-employees and that they're all kind of bounding together and, going on adventures in the Underhive. And that's pretty much the design concept I'm going with this gang. As for the 8-fold Harvest Lord, I'm still kind of on the fence about what I'm going to do with this guy in the back. I am thinking about actually maybe just using that same teal, blue, green color scheme so that way he matches the rest of the gang as well. But then again, I could also use him for more of the earth tones, the reds and the blacks and the golds and that kind of thing to make him stand apart from the rest of the group, make it look like he's actually like a full-blown, the way he is, full-blown crazy, and he's a bounty hunter for the corpse grinder cults. But I'm still on the fence about that, so I'm not really sure I'm going to do that guy as well. And that's pretty much what my plan is to get this done with, and I think it's going to probably take me about a good month to get these guys done. The reason why it would take me about a month to get them done is just because Necromunda miniatures are just a little bit different than Warhammer miniatures. For Warhammer miniatures, you can pretty much use the same palette for all the fighters, and it goes very, very quickly. But for Necromunda fighters, they're all kind of individually. They're all individuals, so you want to give them like individual paint jobs to kind of make them stand out from the rest of the crowd and make them look unique. So it's going to take me about a good month, I think, to paint these guys up. But, you know, I got time, and so it's not a big deal. And that's exactly what I'm planning on doing with these guys with those paint schemes. So, in conclusion, I'm actually really happy with the way this game turned out so far with my assembly. I'm really happy that I made the purchases that I did, even though they're a little bit more expensive with the Forge World exclusives for the box set, as well as for the arms for a lot of the fighters as well. I just thought they looked really cool, and I had the money at the time to use. Luckily for me, I got really lucky on some slot machines, so because of that, I decided to use the winnings from that to get these guys. And they look absolutely fantastic as well. I don't traditionally like to use Forge World because of the price, but I decided to make an exception for these guys. They just look so freaking cool, and the miniatures are really neat and full of character, and that's the reason why I'm doing it, and that's what I'm going to use for these guys as well. Now, obviously, of course, if I wanted to save some money, I could have just proxied more of these guys using corpse grinders, but, you know, I just wanted to have it. I thought it looked really neat as well. So there you guys have it. That's what my overall scheme is for these guys. I can use them as corpse grinder cultists. I can use them as corpse guild outcasts. I can use them for a lot of different things. And I have enough miniatures in the series collection where we have a lot of variety with the different fighters that we can include on the tabletop as well, which I'm really looking forward to getting it done. And of course, as always, I'm really, really looking forward to painting these guys up. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it, and I can't wait to see exactly how these projects end up looking. So that's good for this, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blog.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.